Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance, and today we dive deep into one of the most explosive factions in Hero Wars, Alliance. The Fire Titans. Before we begin, I want to thank each one of you who supports this channel. Every like, comment, and subscription helps us grow and continue bringing guides, comparisons, and breakdowns to help the entire community. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Together, we grow stronger. Now Guardians. It's time to talk fire. Fire Titans don't pretend to be balanced. They don't care about healing, they don't care about defense, they don't care about sustain. The Fire faction represents pure aggression, furious destructive energy that burns everything in its path. No subtlety. No hesitation. Just raw, overwhelming damage. But if you're building an elemental team for war, especially early or mid-game, you need to know the truth. Asherona, unlike Verdok, does not grant a health-based damage multiplier to the entire Fire faction. That means a full Fire team, while powerful, does not snowball its damage the way Earth does. So when choosing between Earth and Fire as your long-term war investment, Earth still comes out ahead in sheer impact. But we're not here to compare. We're here to build your Fire team properly, and if you build them correctly, they can be one of the most dangerous offensive lines in Dominion. Let's start where every Fire journey starts. With Araji? Araji is the soul of the faction, the core damage dealer, the engine of destruction, the titan that turns fire from dangerous into terrifying. If you've been progressing in the dungeon, you should already have Araji's weapon at 6 stars, level 120, and that's perfect, because Araji's weapon is essential. His crown is equally important, giving him the resistance he needs to stay alive against light titan pressure. And his first skin should already be maxed, because that is the skin that opens the door for his full offensive potential. Once Araji is built properly, the next step is to create the support structure around him. A Fire team without support is just a match waiting to burn out. A Fire team with support becomes a wildfire. That support comes from the remaining Titans, Moloch, Vulcan, Asherona, and Ignis. The first thing all 4 of them need, without exceptions, are their seals. Every one of them must have their seal built to 6 stars, level 120. This gives them the survivability they desperately need, and more importantly, it builds up the physical attack that fuels their damage output. A Fire team doesn't have healing, doesn't have shields, and doesn't have protection. They must rely entirely on raw aggression, so the seal upgrades are their foundation. Once all 4 seals are in place, then we turn toward their artifacts. Here is where the Fire faction becomes incredibly resource-friendly compared to Earth or Water. In war, your primary enemies will almost always be light or dark Titan teams. Because of that, you can safely skip, yes, skip, all the Fire crowns, and you can skip the weapons for Ignis and Moloch too. They simply don't provide enough value in war to justify their cost. Instead, your priority is simple: level the physical attack weapons for Vulcan and Asherona. These 2 artifacts are essential because they directly increase your team's damage in war. Vulcan adds heavy burst and area damage, and Asherona, as a summoner, relies heavily on physical attack to empower her infernal creation. Once those are done, move to skins. The first Titan who needs your attention is Moloch. This giant wall of fire needs both of his health skins. Why? Because Moloch sits at the front, protecting Araji and Asherona while they build their destructive tempo. If Moloch dies early, the entire Fire team collapses. His 2 health skins are not optional, they are mandatory for survival. After Moloch, everything shifts to damage. You are building a team whose only purpose is to destroy. Start with Araji's second skin, because every bit of physical attack he gains scales directly into more destruction. After Araji, move to Vulcan, then to Asherona, and finally to Ignis's 2 skins, both of which bring additional physical attack and damage to the entire composition. Once this is done, your fire team becomes a raging inferno, capable of punching through even tough defenses if the matchups align in your favor. But Guardians, this is where we must pause and talk honestly. Because a question every player asks is, can the 5 Fire Titans defend? And the answer, the real answer, is no. The Fire team, like the Earth team, has a natural elemental weakness. And in their case, the weakness is water. A water team can dismantle fire quickly because water naturally overwhelms fire with stuns, healing, and defensive tools that fire simply does not have. But the problem goes deeper. Dark and Light Titans, when built with their crowns, also gain a natural advantage over fire. Combine that with the attacker's timing advantage, and full fire defenses fall apart quickly. This is why you should never use a full fire team on defense. But if you see one on the enemy side, there is a perfect counter. Sigurd, Araji, Iari, Solaris, and Tenebris. This team crushes full fire lines because it combines shielding, control, and overwhelming damage. Just make sure your Sigurd is fully maxed, because he will be taking the brunt of the early aggression. So, Guardians, is the fire team worth building? The honest truth is this. If you love aggression, if you love fast battles, if you love pure destructive force, and if you already have a strong Araji from the dungeon, the 5 Fire Titans can become an incredible offensive weapon for your guild. They melt weaker elemental setups. They punish unprepared Dark and Light teams. And when used correctly, they deliver brutal, rapid victories that feel incredibly satisfying. But they are not a beginner-friendly investment. They are not a defensive team. And they do not have the late-game scaling of Earth. If you want pure aggression and you already have Araji, build Fire. If you want stability, consistency, and better matchups, build Earth. Either way, we are here to guide you every step of the way. So Guardians, thank you for watching, thank you for supporting Olympus Alliance, and thank you for being part of this amazing community. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned, stay sharp, and salute and friendship.